Captain Lee Minho was drinking his morning coffee when the alarm started screaming. The hot liquid splashed across his uniform as he jumped up from his desk. Through the observation deck windows of mining station Kyongbok, space looked different. Where there used to be empty darkness and distant stars, now massive shapes blocked out the light. "Captain to the bridge, emergency alert." The voice crackled through the comm system. Minho ran through the metal corridors, his boots clanging on the floor plates. Other crew members were already moving, their faces showing the same confusion he felt. Station Kyongbok had been their quiet home for 3 years, pulling precious metals from the asteroid belt. Nothing exciting ever happened here. The bridge doors slid open with a hiss. Communications officer Kim Nari was at her station, her hands flying over the controls. Her face was pale. "Captain, we have 12 massive ships surrounding us. They appeared out of nowhere, no warning from our sensors." Minho looked at the main screen. His coffee cup fell from his hand, shattering on the floor. The ships were enormous, each one at least 5 times bigger than their entire station. They had a dark blue metal hull that seemed to absorb light, making them look like holes in space. Strange energy patterns flickered along their surfaces. "Any communication attempts?" Minho asked, trying to keep his voice steady. "Yes, sir, they're broadcasting now." The screen filled with an alien face. It had grey skin stretched tight over sharp bones, 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, and a mouth full of needle-like teeth. When it spoke, the translator made its voice sound like grinding metal. "Human creatures of Station Kyongbok, I am Fleet Commander Vextar of the Valtari Empire. Your species has spread too far across our territory. We claim this system and all others occupied by your kind." Minho stepped forward. "This is Captain Lee Minho. We're peaceful miners. We have legal rights to this system under the Galactic Commerce Treaty." The alien's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Your treaties mean nothing. The Valtari Empire recognizes no authority but strength. You have 24 of your hours to evacuate all humans from this system. After that, we begin orbital bombardment." The transmission cut off. The bridge fell silent except for the hum of machinery. "Sir," called out station engineer Park Jisoo from across the bridge. She was checking a tablet with worried eyes. "We have a problem. Our quantum shield generators are showing critical failures. If they attack, we won't last 5 minutes." Minho felt his stomach drop. The quantum shields were their only real defense, creating an energy barrier that could stop most weapons. Without them, the station was just metal and plastic floating in space. "How long do we have?" he asked. "Maybe 6 hours before complete failure. The power couplings are burning out faster than we can replace them." Kim Nari suddenly straightened. At her station. "Captain, I'm receiving emergency transmissions from other human colonies. Put them through." The main screen split into multiple windows. Each one showed a different human settlement under attack. Colony ships burning in space. Evacuation pods launching from space stations as alien weapons tore them apart. The voice of Commander Park Hyejin from Frontier Base 7 came through clearly. "All human ships, this is Base 7. The Valtari hit us 3 hours ago. We lost half our population in the first strike. They're not taking prisoners. Repeat, they are not taking prisoners." Another voice, this one from mining platform Daehan. "Our shields are down. They're boarding us. The Valtari soldiers, they're using some kind of energy weapons that turn people to ash. There's nowhere to run." Minho watched 12 different human settlements dying on his screen. Thousands of people, families, children. The Valtari weren't just claiming territory. They were wiping humans out completely. "Nari, try to contact Earth Command," he ordered. "I've been trying, sir. Something is jamming our long-range communications. We can only reach nearby systems." Station Kyongbok had 327 people on board. Engineers, miners, researchers, their families. Good people who had come out here to build something. Now alien warships surrounded them like hungry predators. Technical Officer Choi Dae-hyun ran onto the bridge, breathing hard. "Captain, the Valtari. Ships are launching smaller craft. Looks like scout ships checking our defenses." Through the windows, Minho could see tiny lights moving between the massive alien vessels. The scout ships were sleek and fast, darting around the station like insects. Their sensors would be recording everything, finding weak points. "How long until our evacuation ships can be ready?" Minho asked. 2 hours for the transport vessels, but sir, Jisoo looked up from her tablet. We only have space for 200 people. There aren't enough ships. The weight of command felt heavier than the station's artificial gravity. Over 100 people would have to stay behind. Minho looked around the bridge at his crew. These people trusted him to keep them alive. Outside the windows, the alien fleet waited in the darkness like sleeping giants. Maintenance Chief Choi Dae-hyun crawled through the narrow service tunnel beneath mining level 7, sweat dripping from his forehead. The evacuation preparations were chaos above, but someone had to check the mining equipment one last time. They couldn't leave valuable machinery for the Valtari to steal. His headlamp cut through the darkness as he squeezed past massive drilling units. The tunnel was barely wide enough for his shoulders. After 20 years working on mining stations, Dae-hyun knew every bolt and wire in these machines. But something felt wrong today. The asteroid around them was humming. It was a deep, low sound that seemed to come from the rock itself. Dae-hyun had never heard anything like it in all his years of mining. He pressed his ear against the tunnel wall. The humming was getting stronger. "That's not normal," he muttered, to himself. Following the sound, Dae-hyun crawled deeper into the service tunnels. The humming led him to a section of the asteroid they hadn't mined yet. His equipment scanner showed solid rock ahead, but the sound was definitely coming from that direction. He pulled out his emergency plasma cutter and began cutting through the rock wall. Sparks flew in the narrow space as the tool burned through stone and metal ore. After 10 minutes of cutting, his plasma beam hit something different. Instead of cutting through, the beam reflected back in a brilliant flash of blue light. Dae-hyun jerked backward, nearly dropping his tool. Whatever was behind the rock wasn't natural. "Control, this is Dae-hyun. I found something weird down in Mining 7. Captain Lee Minho's voice crackled through his comm. "Can it wait? We're trying to save lives here. Sir, I think you need to see this. There's something buried in the asteroid that our sensors never picked up." 20 minutes later, Dae-hyun led a small team through the tunnels. Research scientist Dr. Yang So-min squeezed through the passage behind him, carrying her analysis equipment. Security Officer Kang Hae-eun brought up the rear, his weapon ready. "There," Dae-hyun pointed to the hole he had cut in the rock wall. Blue light pulsed from inside like a slow heartbeat. Dr. Yang So-min pushed forward with her scanner. "The energy readings are incredible. This is giving off more power than our entire station reactor." She worked quickly, taking readings and samples of the strange blue light. Her scanner beeped constantly as it recorded data that made no sense. "How long has this been here?" she asked. "Has to be millions of years," Dae-hyun replied. "This asteroid has been floating in space since before humans left Earth." Yang So-min's face went pale as she read her scanner results. "Captain Minho, you need to get down here right now and bring everyone who knows anything about ancient alien technology." While they waited, Kang Hae-eun climbed back up to check on the Valtari fleet. Through the station's observation deck, he could see the alien ships moving into new positions. But something was strange about their formation. "They're staying farther away than they should," he reported over the comm. "For an attack formation, they're keeping too much distance." Back in the tunnel, Captain Minho arrived with 2 more scientists. The narrow space was getting crowded, but everyone wanted to see what Dae-hyun had found. Dr. Yang So-min had enlarged the hole and set up portable lights. Inside the cavity, they could see part of a massive structure made from a material that looked like liquid metal frozen in time. Strange symbols covered its surface, glowing with that pulsing blue light. "This is predecessor technology, Yang." So-min whispered, "I've only seen fragments before in museums and research facilities, but this is intact." The predecessors were a legend throughout the galaxy. Millions of years ago, they had ruled over thousands of star systems. Their technology was so advanced that current galactic civilizations couldn't even understand how it worked. Then they vanished, leaving behind only ruins and mysteries. "What does it do?" Captain Minho asked. "Unknown. Predecessor artifacts are usually weapons or tools, but they only activate for certain species. Most aliens can't even touch them without getting killed by energy feedback." Engineer Park Jisoo crawled down to join them. "Sir, the Valtari ships are acting really strange. They keep moving away from us, then coming back, then moving away again. It's like they're scared of something." Yang Somin was running more scans on the artifact. The energy output is increasing. Whatever this thing is, it's waking up. Daehyun watched the blue light pulse faster. Could the Valtari know about this? Is that why they're being careful? Possible, Yang Somin replied. Predecessor weapons destroyed entire star systems. If the Valtari Empire knows there's one here, they might be trying to figure out how to get it safely. Security Officer Kang Haeun's voice came through the comm from above. Captain, the alien fleet just launched probe ships. They're not heading for the station. They're scanning the asteroid itself. They know, Captain Minho said quietly. They know something is down here. The artifact's humming grew louder. The blue light began to shift, becoming brighter and more focused. Strange patterns appeared in the light, like writing in a language older than human civilization. Dr. Yang Somin backed away from her scanner. The power levels are going critical. This thing is fully activating. Should we run? Daehyun asked. Where would we go? We're surrounded by alien warships. Above them, the Valtari fleet held their position, not attacking but not leaving either. They wanted whatever was buried in the asteroid, but they were afraid to come too close. In the tunnel, 6 humans stood around a weapon that could reshape the galaxy, while 300 million tons of alien firepower waited in the darkness outside. The artifact pulsed one more time, and then something changed. The blue light reached out toward the humans, almost like it was trying to touch them. The blue light from the predecessor artifact reached toward Dr. Yang Somin like a living thing. She stepped back, but the energy followed her movement. Everyone in the tunnel held their breath. It's scanning us, she whispered, reading our biological signatures. The light touched her hand and she gasped. For a moment, her eyes glowed the same blue color as the artifact. Then the light pulled away and moved to the next person. One by one, the energy scanned each human in the tunnel. When it reached Maintenance Chief Choi Dae-hyun, the light flickered and moved on. The same happened with Security Officer Kang Haeun and Engineer Park Jisoo. But when the light touched Captain Lee Minho, something different happened. The entire artifact pulsed brighter, and Minho felt a strange tingling in his mind. Images flashed behind his eyes, pictures of star systems and massive space battles, ancient ships fighting creatures made of living darkness. Then the light moved on. Captain, came Technician Shin Yuna's voice over the comm. I'm coming down. The energy readings from that thing are affecting our entire computer system. 5 minutes later, Yuna squeezed through the tunnel to join them. She was their best computer specialist, able to interface with any technology they encountered. When the blue light reached her, everything changed. The light didn't just touch Yuna's hand. It wrapped around her entire body like a gentle embrace. Her eyes glowed brilliant blue, and she began to float off the ground. The artifact's humming became a beautiful singing sound that filled the entire tunnel. Yuna. Captain Minho reached for her, but Dr. Yang Somin grabbed his arm. Don't interrupt. This is what the artifact was looking for, a compatible consciousness. Yuna's voice came out different, deeper, and echoing with power. I can see everything, the entire network. It's been sleeping for so long, waiting for us to come home. Through Yuna's connection, holographic displays appeared in the air around them. Star maps showing hundreds of solar systems. Each system had defensive platforms, weapons, and shields that had been dormant for millions of years. The predecessors built a galaxy-wide defense network, Yuna explained, her feet still floating above the ground. Automated weapons platforms in every major star system. They've been waiting for the right genetic signature to reactivate them. Captain Minho stared at the holographic maps. And that signature is human. Not just human. We are the predecessors, evolved, changed, but we carry their genetic markers. Earth was one of their colony worlds, forgotten when the Great War began. The blue light showed them images of the ancient war. Massive creatures from outside the galaxy, beings made of dark energy that consumed entire star systems. The predecessors had fought them for thousands of years, before finally driving them back into the void between galaxies. But they're returning, Yuna said, her voice filled with sadness. The Dark Ones are coming back, and all the current galactic civilizations are running scared. Dr. Yang Somin checked her scanner. That's why the Valtari are conquering human. systems. They're not expanding their empire, they're fleeing from something worse. Through the station's communication system, they could hear reports from other human colonies. But now the reports made sense in a different way. The Valtari weren't just attacking humans, they were desperately searching for something. They know, Captain Minho realized. The Valtari know about predecessor technology. They're looking for artifacts like this one. Yuna nodded, still floating in the blue light. Every major alien civilization has legends about the predecessors. Most think they were destroyed by the Dark Ones, but some remembered that predecessor weapons could only be activated by their creators. On the holographic display, they could see the current position of the Valtari fleet. The ships were holding back, staying at a safe distance from the artifacts. Energy field. They're terrified, Yuna said. They know what this weapon can do, but they can't use it themselves. Only humans can activate predecessor technology. The artifact began to change, its shape shifting and growing. What had been a small structure in the asteroid was actually just the tip of something enormous. The entire asteroid was the weapon, disguised as a normal space rock. How many of these are there? Captain Minho asked. Thousands, hidden throughout the galaxy, waiting for us to find them. Defensive platforms, weapon systems, entire battle stations. The predecessors hid their technology everywhere before they went into deep sleep. Through the station's sensors, they watched the Valtari fleet suddenly change formation. The ships began moving away from the asteroid, their engines glowing brighter. As they increased speed, "They're detecting the activation," Dr. Yang Somin said. "They know the weapon is coming online." Yuna's connection to the artifact deepened. Through her, they could feel the massive network of predecessor technology awakening across the galaxy. Weapons that had slept for millions of years were powering up, recognizing the genetic signature of their creators. "The evacuation, Captain," Minho suddenly remembered. "We were going to abandon the station." "No need," Yuna replied. "We're not refugees anymore. We're the galaxy's rightful defenders, and we have weapons that can reshape the balance of power." The blue light from the Mai artifact began to spread through the asteroid, then beyond it. The entire mining station started to glow with predecessor energy. Their shields, their weapons, their engines, everything was being upgraded with technology beyond current galactic understanding. Outside, the Valtari fleet received new orders. Their ships turned and began jumping to hyperspace, fleeing the system. As fast as their engines could carry them, the humans of Station Kyongbok were no longer helpless miners waiting to be destroyed. They were the awakened descendants of the galaxy's greatest civilization, and their ancient weapons were coming back to life. The Valtari fleet had retreated to the edge of the star system, but they weren't giving up. Fleet Commander Vextar's voice boomed across all communication channels, filled with desperate anger. "Humans of the mining station, you have awakened something that should stay buried. Surrender the predecessor artifact, or we will destroy your entire system." Captain Lee Minho stood on the bridge, watching the alien ships regroup. There were now 24 massive warships instead of 12. They had called for reinforcements. "They're really scared," he said to himself. Down in the mining tunnels, Technician Shin Yuna was still connected to the ancient artifact. Her body glowed with blue energy as she controlled systems that spanned multiple star systems. Through her link, she could see everything. "Captain," her voice echoed through the station's speakers. "The Valtari are bringing their entire battle fleet, but they're making a mistake. They think this is just one weapon." The asteroid around Station Kyongbok began to transform. What looked like rock started to shift and change, revealing smooth metal surfaces covered in glowing symbols. The mining station was actually built on top of a predecessor battle platform that had been sleeping for millions of years. Engineer Park Jisoo ran between control panels, trying to understand the new systems that were coming online. "Captain, our power output just increased by 3,000%. Our shields are stronger than a battleship now." Pilot Bei Jinwoo was in the fighter bay, staring at his ship in amazement. The small mining craft had changed completely. Instead of basic engines and life support, it now had energy weapons, advanced shields, and a propulsion system that could outrun anything in the galaxy. "This is incredible," he said over the comm. "My fighter feels like it could take on a cruiser." The other pilots were having the same experience. Mining Station Kyongbok had 12 small ships for emergency transport and asteroid surveys. Now, they were all advanced fighter craft with predecessor technology. The Valtari fleet finished regrouping and began their attack. 24 massive warships accelerated toward the station, their weapons charging with deadly energy. "All hands battle stations," Captain Minho announced. "Yuna, can you handle the main defenses?" "Already on it," came her reply. The first wave of Valtari missiles streaked toward the station. There were hundreds of them, each one powerful enough to destroy a city. But as they got close to the asteroid, something impossible happened. The missiles simply stopped in space and turned around. The predecessor defense system had taken control of the alien weapons and sent them back at their own ships. Explosions lit up the darkness as the Valtari missiles struck their own fleet. "What just happened?" Security Officer Kang Hyun asked in amazement. "Predecessor technology doesn't just have better weapons," Dr. Yang So-min explained. "It can control any technology in the area. Those missiles are now ours." Fleet Commander Vextar's ships fired their main energy cannons. Massive beams of destructive force lanced toward the station. But the asteroid's shields didn't just absorb the energy, they redirected it. The Valtari energy beams curved through space like guided lightning and struck 3 alien warships. The ship's own weapons were turned against them, tearing through, their hulls in brilliant explosions. "Impossible!" Vextar's voice crackled with rage. "No technology should be able to do this." Pilot Bei Jinwoo led his squadron of transformed fighters into space. The 12 small craft moved like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. They could turn instantly, accelerate to incredible speeds, and their weapons could punch through the heaviest. "Armor. Attack pattern Delta," Jinwoo called to his pilots. "Let's show them what human pilots can do." The fighters streaked toward the Valtari fleet like blue shooting stars. The alien ships tried to target them with defensive guns, but the human craft were too fast and too maneuverable. Jinwoo's fighter dove toward a massive Valtari cruiser. His weapons fired streams of energy that cut through the alien ship's armor like paper. The cruiser tried to turn its main guns on him, but he was already behind it, attacking its engines. "This is Pilot Kim Taeyang," came another voice. "I just took out a battleship's weapon systems. These ships are amazing." All across the battlefield, the human fighters were outmaneuvering and outgunning ships 10 times their size. The Valtari had brought their most advanced technology, but it was millions of years behind predecessor engineering. Back on the station, engineer Park Ji-soo was learning to control systems she had never imagined. "Captain, I can target their command ship from here. The asteroid has weapons that can reach across the entire star system." "Do it," Captain Minho ordered. A section of the asteroid opened like a flower, revealing a weapon that looked like a miniature star. Energy gathered around it, until the light was too bright to look at directly. Then it fired. The beam crossed the distance to the Valtari command ship in less than a second. But instead of destroying the ship, it did something worse. The command ship systems turned against its own crew. Its weapons began firing at other Valtari ships. Its engines shut down, and its shields failed. Fleet Commander Vextar found himself trapped on a ship that was no longer under his control. "All ships retreat!" he screamed into his communicator. "Retreat immediately!" But it was too late. Through Yuna's connection to the predecessor network, the humans could control any technology in the area. The Valtari ships couldn't escape because their own engines wouldn't obey their commands. One by one, the massive alien warships were either destroyed or captured by their own systems. The few ships that managed to jump to hyperspace fled the system completely, leaving behind the wreckage of what had been the Valtari Empire's most powerful fleet. In 30 minutes, 300 humans with mining equipment had defeated an invasion, force that could have conquered entire star systems. Captain Minho looked out at the battlefield, filled with destroyed alien ships. "Yuna, how many more predecessor weapons are out there?" "Thousands, Captain. And they're all waking up now. The galaxy is about to learn that humanity has come home." The wreckage of the Valtari fleet floated in space around Station Gyeongbok, like broken toys. Captain Lee Minho stood on the bridge, still trying to process what had just happened. His small mining crew had just destroyed one of the galaxy's most powerful military forces. Technician Shin Yuna slowly disconnected from the predecessor artifact, her feet touching the ground for the first time in hours. The blue glow faded from her eyes, but she still carried the knowledge of the ancient network. "Captain," she said, her voice tired but excited, "I need to show you something, the truth about who we really are." The main screen filled with holographic images from the predecessor database. Ancient star maps showed a galaxy very different from the one they knew. Where current alien civilizations had their homeworlds, the maps showed predecessor colonies and outposts. Earth wasn't humanity's first home, Una explained. It was Colony World 7439 in the predecessor empire. When the Dark Ones invaded, the predecessors evacuated their people to the safest planets they could find. Dr. Yang Somin studied the data with amazement. "That's why human DNA has so many gaps. We're not naturally evolved on Earth. We're refugees who forgot our own history." The holographic display showed images of the Great Evacuation, massive ships, carrying millions of predecessors to distant worlds. Earth was chosen because it was far from the main battle zones, hidden in a quiet corner of the galaxy. The predecessors who stayed behind modified themselves, Una continued. They became the control systems for their greatest weapons. That's why the artifacts only respond to human consciousness. We carry the genetic memory of our ancestors. Captain Minho felt a chill run down his spine. How many humans are there in the galaxy now? About 12 billion, spread across 800 worlds. We've been calling ourselves colonists and refugees, but we're actually the children of the galaxy's greatest civilization. Engineer Park Jisu was monitoring communications from across human space. "Captain, word is spreading about what happened here. Every human colony is receiving the same message." The message was simple, but revolutionary. Predecessor artifacts. On hundreds of worlds were activating, responding to human presence. Mining operations were discovering ancient weapons. Research stations were finding technology that made their current equipment look like stone tools. "Sir," Communications Officer Kim Nari called out, "we're receiving transmissions from every major alien government. They all want to talk." The first transmission came from the Zephyrian Council, a peaceful alliance of trading worlds. Their representative, a tall creature with green skin and 4 arms, appeared on the screen. "Humans of Station Kayongbok," the alien said carefully. "The Zephyrian Council wishes to discuss new trade agreements. We have always valued our friendship with humanity." "Captain," Minho almost laughed. 3 days ago, the Zephyrians had refused to sell them basic medical supplies. Now they wanted to be friends. The next transmission was from the Corvan Empire, a military dictatorship that had been enslaving human colonists for years. Their message was very different. "We demand that humans surrender all predecessor artifacts immediately. These weapons are too dangerous for primitive species to control." "Primitive?" Pilot Bei Jinwoo said with a grin. "We just destroyed their allies with mining equipment." More messages poured in from across the galaxy. Some alien governments offered alliance and cooperation. Others demanded that humans submit to their authority. A few, like the hegemony of steel, declared war on all human worlds. "They're scared," Dr. Yang Somin observed. "For millions of years they've been the advanced civilizations and we've been the newcomers. Now they're learning that we built this galaxy." Captain Minho made his decision. "Nari, open a channel to every human world. It's time they knew the truth." The transmission went out on all frequencies, reaching every human settlement from the core worlds to the frontier colonies. Captain Minho's face appeared on screens across 800 worlds. "Fellow humans," he began, "my name is Captain Lee Minho of Mining Station Kyongbok. Today, we discovered something that changes everything we thought we knew about ourselves," he told them, about the predecessor artifacts, the ancient technology awakening across the galaxy, and the truth about humanity's origins. As he spoke, similar discoveries were being made on dozens of human worlds. "We are not refugees begging for space in someone else's galaxy," he continued. "We are the rightful heirs to the greatest civilization in galactic history. Our ancestors built the cities these aliens live in. They created the technology that powers their ships. The response was immediate and overwhelming. On New Sol, human colonists discovered that their entire planet was actually a predecessor fortress. On Frontier Station Alpha, mining equipment transformed into weapons that could destroy battle fleets. But the most important discovery came from Earth itself. The planet's moon wasn't a natural satellite. It was a predecessor command center, disguised to look like a dead rock. When human scientists activated it, they found the central database of the entire predecessor empire. The knowledge of millions of years is waiting for us, Una reported. Medical technology that can cure any disease, energy systems that could power entire star systems, weapons that could reshape matter itself. Alien governments across the galaxy were in panic. The hegemony of steel sent a massive fleet toward Earth, but it was destroyed by automated defense systems that activated when the ships entered the solar system. The Valtari Empire tried to blockade human colonies, but their ships were disabled by technology they couldn't understand. Captain Minho looked out at the transformed asteroid that had been their mining station. Predecessor technology was rebuilding, shaped into something magnificent, a fortress and factory that could produce ships and weapons for the human fleet that was already forming. "What do we do now?" Engineer Park Ji-soo asked. "Now we go home," Captain Minho replied. "All of us. We reclaim. The worlds our ancestors built and left for us. We take back the galaxy that belongs to humanity." Across space, human colonies were no longer isolated settlements hoping to survive. They were awakening fortress worlds, each one connected to the others through the predecessor network. The galaxy's newest species was actually its oldest, and they were coming home with the power to reshape everything. The age of human exile was over. The age of human dominion had begun. The end.